Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Before I Go podcast. September is here. Summer is just about over. The days are shorter, and the temps are finally cooling. This is my time of year. I love it. Up until right around Thanksgiving, because that's when the seasonal depression starts. But for right now, I love it. September is also National Recovery Month. National Recovery Month is a national observance held every September to promote and support new evidence-based treatment and recovery practices, the emergence of a strong and proud recovery community, and the dedication of service providers and community members across the nation who make recovery in all its forms possible. In a nutshell, September is the month where we recognize and celebrate those in recovery and those in the recovery community. So let's talk about recovery. How do you or how have you experienced recovery? Recovery from a bad relationship, recovery from drugs or alcohol, recovery from a food, shopping, or gambling addiction. How do you know that you needed to explore recovery? Or how did you know that you needed to explore recovery? Did someone have to tell you, or did you come to it on your own? Is it something that you did in a group, or did you go through it alone? Everybody's recovery journey is different, and I don't believe there is one perfect way to recover. What I want to talk about today is how you know if it's time to explore recovery. Can we first start by defining recovery? Recovery can be defined as 1, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength, or 2, it is the action or process of regaining possession or control of something stolen or lost. For me, recovering from the effects of a toxic relationship was definitely the action or process of regaining possession or control of something stolen or lost. My mind, my self-respect, my dignity, myself as a whole person. On the other hand, recovering from alcohol use disorder is a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. It's all about perspective, but how did I know when it was time to go into recovery? There comes a time when recovery is the only choice, the last resort. And maybe it shouldn't be that way, but more times than not, that is exactly what happens. When I walked away from a toxic, emotionally abusive relationship, I had just had enough. I was exhausted. I was tired of being tired. I was tired of being disappointed. I was tired of the roller coaster. I was tired of him. And I was tired of who I was when I was with him. Admittedly, when I walked away, I hadn't planned on my recovery period to exceed 6 years, but it did. And that's how long it took me to regain possession of myself. I needed time to figure out who I was as a single person. As a person not in a relationship. I had to redefine what it was to be just me. And that does not happen overnight. I gave myself time and I was patient with myself. At first it was challenging, but eventually I fell into a rhythm. I had been in and out of relationships since I was 15 years old, and finally at the age of 46, I knew I had to stop and breathe and really look at who I was and what I wanted, and more importantly, what I did not want. Recovery is an ongoing process. I'm not saying I'm fixed as far as relationships go, because I'm not. Right now, the answer for me is to not be in a relationship at all, but some would consider that simple avoidance. And it brings me back to one of my favorite quotes. You will never find peace by avoiding life. Am I avoiding romantic relationships because I'm tired of failing at them? Or am I really just happier on my own? Right now, I am just much happier on my own. And I have a laundry list of reasons why. Single people will get it. Others, not so much. Recovering from alcohol use disorder is a little different. My goal in this recovery is to return to a normal state of health, mind, and strength. Now, I know that my alcohol use was not harming anyone except me. So it wasn't like I needed an intervention. No one had to come to me and sit me down and tell me how my drinking affected them. But deep down, it was affecting me. For a very long time, I was quietly asking myself if I needed to cut back on my drinking. Then when I attempted to cut back, I failed. Drinking in moderation was not working. The problem was that my alcohol tolerance had increased, so the amount I drank increased. I almost always drank at home alone, so I didn't have to drive anywhere. So literally, all bets were off. And this is going to sound weird, but because I'm a fitness professional, I would sit and wonder what my liver looked like. I was genuinely concerned about my health. I began to wonder if the alcohol was contributing to my seasonal depression. In fact, this winter will be my first sober winter, so we'll see. So how did I know that it was time to stop drinking and go into recovery? Honestly, it was an episode of Red Table Talk called Are You Drinking Too Much? A Wake-Up Call for Women. That episode was literally a wake-up call. It aired on July 7th, and on July 10th, I began my recovery. I knew I was drinking too much, but seeing other women go through the same thing confirmed it for me. I don't have an issue with self-discipline, so once I make a decision to do something, I'm going to do it. And by the time this episode airs, I will be 66 days sober, and I have no plans on going back. So in honor of National Recovery Month, I am challenging you to either look at yourself and see if there is a recovery journey that you may need to start. If not, if you're good, then celebrate and support someone in your life who is on a recovery journey. Even if they don't ask for help, your support will be appreciated. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. But before I go, let me share this with you from Stephen King. You can, you should, and if you're brave enough to start, you will. I'll see you next time.